Hey, it's me, Riker. Today we're going to have a look at Oden, the Bitterblight from the Graveborn faction. Now, this hero wears cloth-based gear, is part of the mage class, and his primary role is to provide a significant amount of control and damage for your teammates. So let's have a look at his skills. His ultimate skill, Soul Burn. Oden completely drains all energy from the enemy that possesses the highest amount of energy, dealing 160% damage to them. An additional 1% damage is dealt to the enemy for every 1% of energy they have. The higher the amount of energy that Oden drains from his enemies will result in Oden losing a higher proportion of his own energy. Oden will lose at least 300 energy points when using the skill, regardless of the enemy's energy levels. Level 2. Enemies cannot recover any energy for 5 seconds after the skill is used against them. And level 3. Additional damage dealt to the enemy is increased to 1.5% for every 1% of energy the enemy has. So this is one of the main reasons as to why Oden is used, in addition to his grouping-like effects. So his next ability, Void Lightning. Oden opens up a portal to the void, causing void lightning to blast out of it, striking the nearest enemy that is standing directly opposite him for 180% AoE damage. Damage is increased to 190%. The level 3, he recovers an additional 50 points of energy for every enemy struck by this void lightning portal. And level 4, damage is increased to 200%. His next ability, Eviction. Oden opens up a portal to the void that sucks in the enemy with the highest percentage of health. The targeted enemy is then thrown out of the portal and onto the weakest enemy target, resulting in 180% AoE damage being dealt to the affected targets. So his level 2, 3, and 30 engravings increase the amount of AoE damage that he does to the enemies. His next ability, Eye of Evil, which is a passive skill. Oden accumulates 1 fiend point for every point of energy he has. When Oden reaches 300, 1000, or 2000 energy fiend points, one of his eyes will open until all 3 eyes are open. After Oden's first eye has been opened, the AoE damage effect caused by the skill Eviction will now include a stun effect, which stuns the affected enemies for 3 seconds. After Oden's second eye has been opened, the void skill Void Lightning, which is his normal skill, will additionally target the enemy that is currently standing the furthest away from Oden. So this applies a bit of control and energy gain for Oden. After Oden's third and final eye has been opened, Oden's normal attacks will cause his enemies to lose an additional 60 points of energy per attack. So the level 2, 3, and the 60 engravings increase Oden's passive attack rating by 10%, and it increases his haste each time an eye opens. So this is pretty significant, especially when you have him at the 60 engravings mark, where this attack rating is increased all the way to 18%, and his haste points increase by 20 points for every eye that opens. Given that he has 3 eyes, this can stack 3 times. So let's have a look at his signature item, Vengeful Fury. When you unlock this ability, Oden gains 1 fiend point required for his Eye of Evil skill for every energy point taken away from his enemies. So this is a pretty significant way of him gaining those additional passive stats such as attack rating and haste. Level 10. Each time the skill Eye of Evil reaches 200 fiend points, Oden's attack rating is increased by 3% and his haste is increased by 3 points as well. Attributes can be stacked up to 10 times, so this is a 30% attack rating and 30 points of haste. So this is a pretty significant amount. The level 20, each time Eye of Evil reaches 200 points, Oden's attack rating is increased by 3% and his haste by 3 points as well. So this can stack 15 times. So this increases the effectiveness of these skills. And the level 30, the final one, each time the Eye of Evil reaches 200 fiend points, Oden's attack rating is increased by 5% and his haste is increased by 4 points. attributes can be stacked up to 15 times. So based on these skills, his signature item and his ability over here, Eye of Evil, this gives a significant amount of attack rating and haste, allowing him to do insane amounts of damage, especially when the enemies are grouped together. Let's have a look at his furniture. So he's 3 out of 3. Enemies struck by the skill Void Lightning have the energy recovery reduced by 80% for 5 seconds. The 9 out of 9, while alive, Odin passively uses his skill Void Lightning. So this is his skill over here, his main skill over here, Void Lightning. So because he uses a passive, he'll gain more energy and he'll be able to use his ultimate skill more frequently. He will use this skill every 8 seconds to attack the enemy with the current highest energy. So this is pretty significant of additional damage that he'll gain from this 9 of 9 furniture. So let's have a look at how he does in battle. So, because he's a mage, and due to his stacking-like effect of his abilities, you would want him to survive as long as possible. Now, because of this, he might not be as strong at the beginning of the battle. However, as the battle slowly progresses, he will become stronger and stronger, and he will gain all those sweet stats such as attack rating and haste. So in this team I've made here, we can see that he immediately teleports the Solus onto the Izord over here. Now, he's constantly grouping up the enemies, as we can see. And as he removed Solus's energy, and now she cannot gain any energy for the next 5 seconds of battle. So this is pretty significant, especially if you have stall-based heroes or enemies who deal a significant amount of damage with their ultimate skill. Oden can effectively completely remove that hero from the game by constantly stunning them, teleporting them, and removing all of their energy. So, when we have a look at the battle statistics, he didn't do the most damage. However, the control he provides is extremely important. So let's have a look at how he does at a much higher level deficit in a campaign. So one of the ways that you want to pair up him with is in the Auna Gruzul based team. Now this is a stall based team where essentially Auna and Gruzul are on the front line and immune to all damage for a couple of seconds. This allows Oden to ramp up and gain all of his bonus stats and damaging attack rating statistics. So, similar to how it was in the previous battle, he immediately teleports to one of the heroes and stacks them on top of these heroes over here. This allows heroes such as Gruzul to essentially keep on dealing damage and dealing more damage to a grouped up number of enemies. There we go, he removed the Zara's energy. This essentially cancelled her ultimate, which heals a significant amount, and this allowed for heroes such as Gruzul to deal more damage to the enemies. Now let's speed this up. There we go, he removed Theowin's energy as well, and he simultaneously grouped her up with the 4 enemies over here. There we go. As we can see, Oden is constantly removing the enemy's energy, and eventually it gets to a state where when Oden has enough haste, that he essentially completely removes the entire enemy team's energy just by himself. Now this is pretty significant if you want to control the battle and allow your heroes to claim victory over your opponents. So there we go. So, what is the minimum investment that I would recommend investing into your Oden? Now, because he synergizes extremely well the longer the battle is, therefore you would like to invest in him as much as possible in order to stay alive and to gain all of those extra stats such as haste and attack rating. So, the minimum investment that I would recommend for him would be to getting his 30 signature item, 9 out of 9 furniture, and his 60 out of 60 engravings. This gives him more damage, AoE damage, once the enemies are grouped up together, and this also gives him more attack rating and haste that he can stack 3 times. Now, the longer the battle, as I mentioned before, the more damage he does. Now, this is pretty significant, especially in campaign or when fighting certain bosses in Cursed Realm, as this allows him to essentially get stronger over the entire duration of battle.